going on, everybody? It's your boy Adam. Another video for the chaos to come back. Talking about a little bit of chaos, a little bit of coming back, and whatever else happens. You really never know what I'm going to talk about on one of these videos, but the focus of this channel and all the videos combined, I'm just documenting the struggle of having been a guy who had it all, everything a guy could want, losing it all completely, including my freedom by spending 20 months in federal prison over a dumbass mistake, and now struggling to come back from that. As a warning to you, don't fucking do it. Don't make a mistake. The world is not very kind to guys who make a mistake. I'll put it that way. You can be a woman. You can make a mistake every fucking day, and some guy will pick you up off the ground and brush you off, put you on a pedestal, worship the ground you walk on, and give you everything that you want. You don't gotta work for it. But a guy, you get the fuck up. You don't get. If you fuck up once, it's over. Game over. The only way you can come back from that is to come back from that. So, if you want the up to the minute information, or you just want to ask a question, or you don't like the fact that I record a video and then post it a week later in the rotation, some people got mad about that. The traffic is showing me that people don't like it. You'll find out really quick if you watch any of these videos. I don't care. I really don't. I'm gonna do what I can do, and there's things I want to do I don't have time to do. I'm gonna talk about time management at some point in this video. But the live stream, if you want the up to the minute update, come join the party every Thursday from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 to 8 p.m. my time, Central Standard Time, whatever it is where you happen to live, figure it out. It's not hard. Do the math. We might be doing Bible study on Sundays, live, via Zoom, perhaps. I have a Zoom account for business. I can use it. StreamYard, Zoom, I don't know what tools I need, but more interactive so we can do video back and forth. Link it to a YouTube live stream so you can sit on the chat and chat with us. I don't know. I got to figure some things out. Time management is my biggest problem right now that I've been talking about in general, and energy. And so today I'm going to talk about the energy side of things. No commercials during the live stream. If you're late to the party and you watch the replay, you're going to watch some commercials. Homie got to get paid. So, but during the live stream, I'm not going to turn on the commercials because it basically puts an ad in front of you, and then you come back and you missed whatever people were talking about. So I'm hoping that during the replay, the video will just pick up where it left off, like a normal YouTube video does when you see an ad, and you don't miss anything if you want to watch it from beginning to end. So I bought, money's tight. I didn't even go grocery shopping on Friday, and by going grocery shopping, that means going online to go grocery shopping and getting it delivered. Didn't do it. Decided to just wait a few more days. I paid my rent. This is the first rent payment that's a normal rent payment since I moved in here. I had to pay for June, cost me a month and a half rent, and July cost me a month and a half for rent, because the landlord generously, before I even moved in here, before I even said I would, he offered out of nowhere to split the security deposit across 2 months. I said sure. So August is the first month that I didn't have to pay that extra bit of money. But there are other bills, and money-wise, everything's just tight, especially at the beginning of the month, and it's hard. And so, of course, I go out and buy something. I bought a chest strap from Garmin so I can track my heart rate. And I got the Garmin, which cost more than the other brands, because it synchronizes with the Garmin app that I use for everything else, number one. And number two, it tracks your steps and your activity level, not just heart rate. And so I'm curious. There's 20 different reasons why I wanted to do this. One reason is so I can track how much energy I use at that bakery, because I feel it, but I wanted to see it. So every day on Garmin that I'm in, or every day that I'm in the bakery, my Garmin app just shows a black void. I don't know what happened because I take this heart rate tracker off. I've been wearing this heart rate tracker, I believe, since February. Once I moved into the tool shed and started riding my bike all the time to go to the bakery and back, that's when I got the motivation to get this thing up and running. And so I've been adding to that ever since. Prior to that, I was tracking my weight using an app that called Libra, which I've used for years to track my weight. I like that. It works very well if you track your weight on a daily basis. It's a very good app for that. It shows you not only the ups and downs of your weight from one day to the next, just from losing and gaining water, but it averages it out and it shows you what's actually happening to your weight. Are you on an uphill or a downhill slope? And it's the best weight tracking app there is, hands down. It synchronizes with some different things, but not well. None of these exercise apps share data with each other well. It's all a big clusterfuck. So you just have to kind of use them, but don't rely 100% on them. The only one that I really try to keep nailed down is Strava, and that's because I'm tracking the mileage with it. The mileage of cycling, the mileage of walking, if I started going hiking again and doing other things. I used to track cycling, hiking, both mountain biking and road biking, hiking, going on long walks, rollerblades, canoeing, swimming, skiing, both cross country and downhill skiing. So I did all these different things, and you can track it all with that app just to see like how many miles. So the chest strap fills in those voids at the bakery. I checked it out. I used it for the first time yesterday, which was a Saturday, which is the easier of the 2 days I go to the bakery every week. Monday is like, I can't wait to see what tomorrow shows. But you might think, oh, Adam's a lazy piece of shit because he didn't do anything on Sunday. He just sat around, didn't get anything done. On Tuesdays, I'm a train wreck, an absolute train wreck. But now I've got data to back up why. And so what'll happen is that'll help me sort it all out. And I'll be able to say, well, if you do this, then this. And if you tweak that, then you get this. And if you sleep more, you get that. And I'll be able to make adjustments to things and actually see, not just feel how it makes me feel, but look and say, look at that. If I did this, then this happens, And so trying to do that with, like, if you eat an 8-pound bowl of food because you're ravaged and you didn't eat breakfast and you waited until dinner to eat some monstrosity to the point where you felt like you just had Thanksgiving dinner when you went to bed, and then you gained 5 pounds the next day, here's why. Here's exactly how many calories, here's exactly what it did to your weight, etc. You don't have to guess. But like I said, the apps are, a bit of a clusterfuck. Each app is really good at certain things and terrible at others. So the only one I'm paying for is Strava. The other ones I just use whatever they give you for free. Strava gives me all kinds of stuff when you pay that you don't get when you don't. When I was in Jamestown, I was using Strava for free the whole time. So I know exactly how far I walked when I was homeless. 500 and something miles. Either 560 or 590, somewhere in there. I can't remember, but it was a lot of miles, a lot of walking. So the other thing that the chest strap will do that this thing won't, this thing, now I can connect my watch to Garmin Connect whenever I go for a bike ride, and it's going to track a whole bunch of random different things, but then the heart rate can't broadcast to other devices. So this watch can send a radio signal out of my heart rate. It can connect to a bicycle computer. It can connect to a GPS device. It can connect to other apps on the phone like Strava. When I'm using Strava on the phone, it can connect to Strava and attach my heart rate to the whole ride. But it can't do multiple things at once, to a degree. It's either link it with Garmin Connect while I ride and exclude everything else, or broadcast to everything else and not Garmin Connect. And so I wanted the ability to do both at the same time. So the chest strap allows me to, I can pair this with the Garmin app while I'm doing something, and it gathers all kinds of stuff while you're in an activity. But then the chest strap will broadcast the heart rate out to all the devices I'm using, whether it's a GPS mounted to my handlebars, or whether it's the phone, or running Strava. And so it gives you more options. It gives me more. It's nice having a heads-up display in front of you while you're training to have your heart rate right there, front and center. Because when you're cycling, when you're training for cycling, the heart rate is more important than your speed, your average speed, and your cadence or anything else. I think I'm going to get a couple of cheap cadence sensors to mount to my crank arms on both bicycles so that I can add cadence data to Strava as I'm riding. Getting a full-on power meter, which actually will measure your power in watts. Bare minimum for one of those is like $500-600, and it's going to be a set of pedals. And on my kind of pedals, the SPD pedals, they're double-sided, so you can click your shoe into the pedal no matter which way the pedal's facing. Just to have the power meter work on one side of the pedal and not the other, it's like $500-600 for a set of those pedals. Double-sided pedals with a power meter on both sides, like closing in on $1,000. You can get crank arms with power meters built in. That's like, I would need a $5,000 bike just to be able to put those crank arms on the bike. Other kinds of pedals for road bike shoes that are single-sided, those are about, in the $600, $700, $800 range. But I would have to switch my whole shoes and everything else, and I don't want to wear road bike shoes when I ride because they're hard to walk around in. And I want to be able to go to the store and walk around and not, if you ever put on a pair of road bike shoes on your feet, you know what I'm talking about. They're better, but they don't work for that purpose. I'll probably never wear another pair of road bike shoes unless I somehow got into racing, and I'm almost 50 years old, so maybe someday when I'm like 55 I can enter the Masters division of the Woodlands Douchebag Classic Masters Division bicycle race, the annual Woodlands Douchebag Classic or whatever the fuck they call it over there, and get like 50th place out of 100 riders, who knows. But right now that's not something I want to do. So maybe I'll get a scale. I used to have a scale that would measure your body fat percentage, and that was Wi-Fi enabled, so it would update all your apps every day you stood on it. Now those scales with the body fat measurement, they're not super accurate. If you have a dude, I'm telling you, every single time I get in front of this YouTube camera, I get phlegmy. No, I don't know why. It only happens when I start talking to you guys. I can talk all day at the bakery. I don't get this frog in my throat. I don't know, something There's something going on there. It's driving me nuts because it happens. Hold on. Oh man, I didn't want you to have to hear or watch that. But I'm good for now. And I think I've gained a little weight in the last couple of months. I got some data here to talk about, but I've decided to try and start tracking it a little bit more precisely. The body weight. Those scales that will measure your body fat, they're decent. And they will tell you up and down. Like, they'll give you a good idea of whether you're going up or down. But somebody with the calipers, I don't even know I don't know how that shit works. Somebody at the Danbury Federal Prison, there was a fitness guy there who knew how to use that shit. And you could go to this room once a week. He would set up a table and he'd measure your body fat with the calipers, plus there was a body fat scale. Club Fed. You're hearing me talk about federal prison going to get my body fat checked, like I'm going to a personal trainer. That's one thing you can have. You can have a personal trainer in federal prison because there's all these dudes. There are programs for people when they come out of prison to be able to get jobs like HVAC, plumbing, different things like that. They'll even send you to a vocational school, but it's really hard to get into that shit. And imagine going to vocational school in a fucking chain gang, all handcuffed up, and then having to sit there with a cop all day. I don't know how it works, but they have a program for personal trainers. Now, a lot of the people who are doing that have, bad charges. They're going to be on that Google Map app of all the sex offenders around. You know how you can look up your house on a sex offender app and be like, all of a sudden you see all these fucking dots popping up around you, and you're like, holy shit, I'm surrounded by perverts. Well, they're going to be on that map. And but they got a program for you to be a personal trainer. I don't know how many people want to be personally trained by a child molester, but they're there. They're trying. They're trying. Girls at the gym, they don't girls will show up to the gym wearing vagina pants, the yoga pants where you can see the whole thing. And there's just you may as well just show up with nothing because, you see everything. And then they say they don't like it when guys stare at them, but it's like, why'd you wear that then? There's other things you could wear. But no, they want guys staring at them. They want guys to come up and approach them so that they can tell the guy to fuck off and feel better about themselves. And then maybe Chad comes over and hits on her and she goes home with him after the gym that night. But whatever. That's how women are. But anyway, I don't think any of these women are going to want a personal trainer who just got out of federal prison for, diddling kids. So, especially, a lot of these gyms have private rooms for the women to go work out in with all the machines, and maybe all the machines are pink or something to make them feel girly or whatever. But they have gyms where they have a separate gym for the women, so the women can go work out without being gawked at by the guys. So I don't know who the personal trainers in federal prison are going to be training when they get out of prison, or how they're going to make that work. But they have that as a program, so when you're in there, you can get I had a personal trainer the whole time. Whole 4 months, I lost 40 pounds in 4 months because I had a dude who basically led a group of us on non-stop workout routines. And it was better than working out by myself because you're more motivated when someone's yelling at you. Especially Especially, like, you know what I'm saying? If you're running around a track and you got a couple child molesters running after you, you're going to run a little bit fucking faster, aren't you? Oh my God, get away, get away, get away, right? But no, I'm just kidding. But, definitely. I mean, it's not what you think. You know, people make all the jokes about federal prison and Bubba fucking another dude. There's so many gay people now. Being gay is so common now that if you go to prison and you want some cock, there's a fucking cock buffet waiting for you. If you want to fuck a guy in the ass, if you want to get fucked in the ass, there's a buffet to choose from of people who are willing and wanting cock and all of that. They don't have to rape guys anymore. And then the federal government is on this big anti-prison rape thing. So it's illegal now to take a shower, like how prisons would have showers. You see it in the movies. There's just 20 naked dudes lined up next to each other getting a shower. Don't drop the soap or you're going to get raped. No. Like, you take a shower by yourself with a curtain and, like, nobody watching you. And you cannot, it's illegal for them to do that now in any jail, to be able to take a shower with other dudes' wangs hanging out and everybody looking at each other and all, or trying not to look at each other. That doesn't exist anymore. There's all kinds of things that they've done to at least make it less humiliating in that way. And with the advent of the woke mob and all the gay stuff now, there's gay, believe me, there's a gay pride parade every day out on the fucking track at prison. So they all know they all know each other. They, you know, if you want cock, boom, that's like, you're in heaven when you go there. There's plenty of people, there's plenty of them. And if you're straight, you don't got to worry about it, because there's plenty of gays for the gay people to have fun with each other. They ain't coming after the straight guys, because there's basically a cock buffet, you know, and it's just, it works itself out. You don't got to worry about that. Maybe in like the maximum security penitentiary where all the worst of the worst are, there might be some like little Bubba or little white guy getting raped by big black Bubba as like a power trip thing, but in the fucking place I was at, no. But anyway, holy crap, I'm on a tangent. But I told you, you're never gonna know what I'm talking about on these videos until you hear it come out of my mouth. It's a variety show. That's why the YouTube algorithm gets all fucked. Is he talking about prison rape or fitness or cycling or the Tour de France or life after prison or working in a bakery baking cookies? What the hell is this guy talking about? The algorithm don't know what to do with it. So, beat. I am tired today. I had a plan for what I wanted to do, and that's gone. But yesterday, okay, I'm going to give you the stats. I got stats. 50 miles of bicycling. Strava says 49. I'm going to call it 50. Round up. Caught a fish this big. When I tell my friends it's this big, so fine. 50 miles of bicycling yesterday. On my ride home, my maximum heart rate was 180 beats per minute. My normal resting heart rate is 55 beats per minute, which, and if you look at the charts, the age range and like what your heart number should be, 55 beats per minute when you're resting is pretty much an athlete. That's an athlete resting heart rate. If it was higher than that, I would just be a regular guy, but I'm an athlete. So I always have been my whole life. I may not always be active, but I've put in the work over my lifetime as an athlete to train that's my resting heart rate. It's the heart rate of an athlete, according to the charts. 55 BPM. They say 170 is the average maximum heart rate of a 49-year-old guy is 170 beats per minute. You basically take 220 and subtract your age. That's the rule of thumb for like what your heart rate should be for your age, your maximum heart rate. I hit 180 yesterday on the way home. And believe me, that hurt. That 180 was like boom, 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 bang, 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 bang in my head. And I'm like, I felt like Fatty McGee. When Adam Sandler talks about Fatty McGee going up a flight of stairs and how he breathes, that's what was coming out. I mean, I was breathing like, if I could put a microphone for you to listen to my breathing, I had a drool coming out of my mouth, a string of spit like 20 feet long, like a dog, like a greyhound running after a rabbit, and I couldn't care about it. I'm like, it's just going down my face like I just got a shot of Novocaine at the dentist office. It was bad. But I was holding that pace for like 5 minutes. And it was, ooh, holy crap. So anyway, in the morning yesterday, I take it easy in the morning. Yesterday I had some energy. I started out feeling like crap. I woke up feeling terrible. But I get on the bicycle and you never really know what's going to happen. Maybe it's because I had a new toy to play with. Maybe that's what it was, but okay, so in the heart rate zones, you've got 5 zones. Zone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to be a little different for each person, but so you got zone 1, which is like, zone 1 is basically being asleep or getting up off your chair to go to the fridge and get a snack and come back and sit down. That's, for me, that's 0 to 105 beats per minute. A moderate is zone 2. A moderate is like you're doing something. You're walking around, you're doing stuff in the house, you're active, your body's moving. You're walking around, you like going grocery shopping, you're just walking around, you're doing stuff, whatever. That's 105 to 138 beats per minute. Zone 3 is called the tempo zone. It means you're moving. It means you're busting ass. It means you're sweating. You're working out. You're burning fat. You're putting effort in. You're on a hike. You're climbing up a mountain. You got your trekking poles out. You're doing your thing. You're working hard at something. 138 to 155 beats per minute is that. Then you've got what's called zone 4, which is the other term will be your threshold, which is now you're getting close to, like now you're working ultra hard, sweat's pouring down, you can't carry on a conversation anymore, you're working too hard, you're breathing heavy, you're feeling like you can't do this for a long time, but you can probably do it for a while, but at some point you're gonna have to back off. That's 155 beats per minute to 172 beats per minute. And then anaerobic is zone 5. That's like you're pushing you're going as hard as you possibly can physically go. You're pretty much you're kind of like in a blackout mentally, like you can't concentrate, you can barely, like you're breathing so heavy. It's like you're running a sprint, you're running as fast as you possibly can to, like, you can't do this. You're running from the cops. You can't do it forever, but you know you can beat that donut eating motherfucker if you can just hold out for like 1 or 2 minutes. You know, that beer bellied pig in his fucking dress pants isn't gonna be able to keep up to you if you can just hold out a little bit longer. You're not gonna outrun the dog, but you could probably outrun the pig. But you're going to have to find some place to hide. You're going to have to duck into an alley. You're going to have to lose the trail because you don't got long. And in terms of the bike, it's like it's sprinting as hard as you possibly can on the bike. You got like 1 to 2 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, and you're just going to have to be done with it because eventually your body will just say, you know what, we're done. We're done. Doesn't matter what you want to do, I'm over it. We're done. And you'll slow down, and you may not have to come to a stop, but you're gonna have to like back off your pace and your heart is just going to be like bang, 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 bang. And you're just going to have to like, you're not going to be able to talk. You're not going to be able to do anything. You're breathing like I can't even do it right now. So yesterday, now there are times I go on the bike ride to and from the bakery, 25 miles. I pretty much stay in the moderate zone, zone 2 the whole time. It's hard to stay in zone 1, but I've done it. There's been some times where I don't get my heart rate up much over 100 the whole ride. And I'm turning the pedals, but I'm chilling. I'm just relaxing. I could probably read a book if I didn't have to pay attention to the road. I could have conversation. Like, I could just chill. And I can still cruise along at 10, 15 miles an hour without having to put any effort at all in. So can you. Going 10 miles an hour on a bicycle takes almost no effort on a flat land. Without the wind, a heavy headwind might change that, but. So the data, like, why am I so beat the fuck up on Sunday? Well, it's because yesterday morning, I spent 2 minutes in the endurance zone 1, 0 to 105 beats per minute. That was probably the time it took me to start the apps, put the phone on the bicycle, take the bicycle outside, lock the door behind me, get on the bicycle, and leave the driveway. Now I'm riding. I spent 37% of the ride in zone 2, 48% of the ride in zone 3, busting balls. So almost half of the ride I was busting out 138 to 155 beats per minute on the heart. And then 17% of that ride was in the threshold zone, zone 4, 155 to 172 beats per minute. And then the anaerobic zone above 172, not at all, none. But there were 2 times on my way into work yesterday morning that I pushed myself a little bit harder, and it was because I had prey in front of me to catch. So in the morning, in the first part of the ride, there was a bicyclist on the trail in front of me, and it was a girl, and I was like, got on my bike and started riding real hard, and I flew past her. I was probably going 20 to 25 miles an hour, and she was probably going 10. And I was just like, whoosh. I had to ring my bell. I was like, cha-ching, 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 coming up behind her just so that she doesn't swerve like unexpectedly and cause a crash. Because I was moving. I'm like, get out of the way. Move, bitch. Get out the way. Get out the way. Get out the way. Move, bitch. Get out, right? You know the song. Anyway, but in the way into work, I normally don't even go that hard. It was a pretty good ride. And I had good energy when I got to work. So it didn't matter. I got there with plenty of time to get some Chick-fil-A for breakfast and, do my thing. Then I worked. And so the whole time at work, I have this chest strap recording my heart and my steps and all of that. We'll get there in a second. But on the bike ride home, I spent 2 minutes in the zone 1, maybe less. I don't even know. Let me take a quick look, because I think I have to look at something here. I'm gonna just double check that one. I spent 15 seconds in zone 1. So when I got on the bike, I was like, we out. I spent 21% in zone 2, 21%. In the morning, it was 37%. In the tempo zone, 54%. So that's the 138 to 155 beats per minute, 54% in the evening, 48% in the morning. and then the threshold, I spent 20% there on the ride home versus 17% on the ride in. And then the anaerobic above 172 was 4%. I spent 3 minutes and 25 seconds above 172 beats per minute. At some point in that, I hit 180. And I know exactly where I was on the ride home because I was trying to beat my time on one of the Strava segments because I felt like the wind and everything was in the right place for me to do that. And I did get my best time on that stretch. And now I'm in the, I don't know if it'll tell me on the website where I am, but in that specific, let's look at the segments here. Yes, so I got my personal record on this one segment, and now I am 284th place on that segment out of 1,680 people. And if I take, the app tells you different data than the website does, but the segment length is 1.42 miles. The fastest is 2 minutes 55 seconds, and my time was what? 3 minutes 55 seconds. So I can lose 1 minute to get first place. But right now I'm sitting in whatever I just told you. It's harder to read on it's easier to see all this on the app. I hate the fact that the website and the app tell you different things. But anyway, I'm 284th place out of 1,680, and I've got to lose 1 minute to get into first place. There's another segment on my way home where I am, hold on, let me just look back at this thing again. I should have had this thing, well, I wasn't planning on talking about this part. There's another segment, where is it? It's a really short segment. It is, it's the length. See, this is the thing. They tell you this and then they don't tell you you got to click around to get all the different things that you want. And then they don't. Okay, so it's 0.4 miles and I am in 22nd place out of 972 people. It's a sprint. It's just how fast can you go for just under half a mile. I'm in 22nd place out of 972 people. The top rider is 44 seconds, and my speed is 1 minute and 2 seconds. So I have to go 54. Hold on, 40, 54, 64. 18 seconds. I gotta shave off 18 seconds on that stretch to get first place out of 972 people that have recorded their time on it. So that's not bad. And there's a few other ones like that. And then there's some other ones where I'm like 4,000th place out of like 8,000 people. So it's but I'm kind of in the top half of Houston cyclists. In general, as I compare myself to others with this app, I'm in the top 50%, but there are certain stretches where I've got a pretty high rank. There was a few in Pittsburgh that I was doing pretty good at back in the day, where my name was on the board. One of the Pittsburgh Steelers and I were going back and forth on this one hill climb, beating each other back and forth as we both got better, and it was kind of funny to watch because there are famous people on Strava. So like if Lance Armstrong, if I lived in Lance Armstrong's neighborhood, I could follow him on Strava unless they banned him from Strava. Maybe he got banned from Strava and he can't even race on Strava anymore, but You could race against Lance Armstrong if you follow him on Strava and you go up the same hills he goes up, or up and down. There's downhill segments, there's flat ones, so it's fun. There's mountain bike. You can do it with hiking too. You can compare yourself with other people on hiking. It's a fun app. So that was the heart rate data. That's the mileage I went, just the mileage going to and from the bakery. So now when you add in the bakery yesterday, and now that I can, because I've got the extra device to do it with, I don't have to wear a watch. I just have to adjust my bro strap every now and then throughout the day. I got a couple funny looks because it does get uncomfortable. And first time somebody asks me, Adam, what are you doing? I'm gonna be like, I gotta adjust my bro strap. Hold on. You girls got to adjust a bra strap. I got to adjust my bro strap. So we'll just let it stay there. You add in the bakery yesterday, 6,398 calories burned. So I can eat whatever the fuck I want. I can eat 1,000-calorie cookie, 1,000-calorie breakfast, and another 2,000 calories when I get home, and I'm still ahead of the game. So 30,847 steps recorded yesterday. You're supposed to get 10,000, 30,847 because of the bakery. I got 404 intensity minutes. I don't even know what that is. That's a Garmin metric. I'm gonna have to look into that and see what it means. Friday night, I never get any good sleep Friday night. I usually get a late start to my sleep because I'm not tired, and I have to get up at 5 in the morning to do this shit. So it's like 5.5 hours of sleep is what I got. 11:30 to 5 a.m. Said fair quality, fair. I never get maybe once a month I get a good night's sleep according to Garmin, and that don't matter whether I have a bed or a cot or or I'm sleeping on the ground or a hammock. It doesn't matter. I had this thing for a year or more when I got arrested. Sleep score is never really good. Once in a great while will say great night's sleep. So I don't sleep well. That's just a thing. I never really get a good night's sleep. Last night, Sunday night or Saturday night, after all of that, after the 30,000 steps, the 6,400 calories burned, I got 9 hours of sleep last night, and it said poor quality. It said it was terrible night's sleep. It says my body battery, which goes from 0 to 100%, is at 32 at some point today. Said my stress is really low today, and I feel that. I don't feel stressed out. That was one thing that this thing, before I was arrested, the whole year before I was arrested, my stress was always at the top of the chart. It was just a block of stress, nonstop stress. Didn't matter if I was sitting in a chair, chilling, watching TV, doing absolutely nothing, half asleep. This thing would say, you're completely stressed out. Nowadays, it kind of goes up and down, and I kind of can correlate. So I used to think it was just broken. Like, this thing's obviously broken, but there was some underlying stress that I don't have anymore because it does go up and down now. And the times where I'm like feeling stressed, I can see it on the data that it produces. Garmin has some really sensitive algorithms when it comes to sleep quality compared to Fitbit. Fitbit will tell you get a good night's sleep. Garmin will tell you got a shit night's sleep. The different companies have different algorithms and measurements. And in terms of stress, they measure stress differently. So a Fitbit's not going to tell you the same thing as a Garmin. And then this body battery thing, that's a Garmin thing. It tells you how much you've been recharged when you rest and how much energy you burn when you're active. And the body battery, it's always crap for me. But they tell you that the Garmin, from what I understand, the body battery is not how much energy you have. It's more of a gauge on how fit you would be to perform in a race or a running race or like a marathon or something like that, from one day to the next versus just how much energy you have in general. It's specifically to tell you, are you ready for the big event? The big Woodlands Douchebag Bicycle Classic this weekend. And so like, there are days, I would say that my body battery is never above 50. Never above 50. 1 or 2 times in the last month it went up to like 70, 80. It's been higher in the past. February, for example, when I moved into the tool shed, my body battery was up and down. It was up into like 70, 80, then down to nothing, then up to 50, then down, then up to 80, then down, then it went up and down, up and down, up and down. The month of April, my body battery was high in the first half of the month. And to correspond with that, my weight was the lowest it's been in the last, my weight was the lowest it's been in 2025 at the same time. Strava, all the other apps, Strava said I was the most physically fit and going on the fastest average speed bike rides during that same time. And all the apps were saying the same thing. You're the lightest you've been, you're getting the best sleep you've got, your body battery's the highest, you're the healthiest you've been, you're the fittest you've been all year. But I was riding my bicycle 200 miles a week for the first half of April. And so, but you know, your weight corresponds to your sleep habits, to your stress, to it all ties together, and all the apps were in sync, kind of just all pointing to the same thing. If I can get my weight down 25 pounds from where I am right now, there's going to be all these different metrics are going to reflect that I'm better, and I'm probably going to feel better than I feel right now. I was beat the fuck up though in the beginning of April, but at the same time, I do remember getting good night's sleep. I do remember feeling better in general, and my bike rides were fast. So I was stressed out and worn out from the crap that was going on with the landlord and some other stuff, but there were other things that were better. And now it's like my stress feels low, but I'm worn out. I feel way more worn out right now than I did then, in a way. So it's like just being able to see some numbers kind of tells you things. And you can't just like, you know, I'm not going to be like a Tour de France cyclist monitoring every tiny little thing, trying to tweak out, you know, 3 seconds off a 100-mile bike ride. You know what I mean? That kind of crap. But it's still useful to know. I'm going to pick up cadence sensors for my bicycles because they're cheap. And it's just another piece of data. I'm going to possibly one of these days get one of those scales that check your body fat with the metal pads. I just got the cheapest scale I could get at Target when I got a scale. So I'll just use that for now. But the more data you have, the more, you don't need all of this stuff. You really don't. But for me, it's kind of like you gamify what you're trying to do, turn it into a game. I keep talking about leveling up. And so turning it into, I like video games. So you turn it into a game of some kind for yourself, where you're like, now I'm looking at the charts and I see the graphs, and it's like, oh, you just became a level 57 wizard when you were a level 56 magician, and that kind of stuff. And my hit points went up by 50 points, and my stamina increased by 3, and my strength increased by 4, and all the stats that your character has in some video game. It's like you can do that to your own. You could do that with yourself by playing these numbers games, tracking things. And I was doing it in prison. When I lost 40 pounds, I was tracking my weight every day. I was tracking my stair climb times on the Stairmaster for the same settings. So I'd climb the Great Pyramid, that was one. I climbed the CN Tower in Toronto, I would measure that. And then the Burj Khalifa, which is the biggest one, I would do that once in a while. And I would just write I would write it down, whatever it was, whatever my result was, because it's measurable. It's a repeating thing that's exactly the same every time. So your time is, the way you change your time on the Stairmaster is you have an up and down arrow for the speed of the stairs. And so you can control how fast you go up the stairs. For these hill the hill climbs, you can control that. I was using an elliptical machine, and I would just do a pre-programmed interval workout. The interval is good for your heart rate. An interval workout is where you get warmed up, and then you push your heart rate up into zone 4 or higher, zone 5 for 1 minute. Then you back off for a minute. Then you do it again for a minute. You go as hard as you possibly can for a whole minute. And then you go back down and just relax for a minute. But you don't stop, you just slow down. And then you do it for a minute. And then you back off. And then you do it for a minute. And you might do that 10 times during your workout. So maybe half an hour warm up. Then interval on, off for a minute. So that's 20 minutes right there of turning it on and off. 1 minute on, 1 minute off, 1 minute on, 1 minute off. And that's where having a heart rate monitor comes in, because I could do that on the way to the bakery, or especially on the way home. I could just say, okay, 1 minute, hammer, 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 1 minute back off, 1 minute, hammer, hammer, and that's 20 minutes of my bike ride right there. And the rest of the bike ride could be whatever it is, and that will improve your fitness dramatically versus just cruising. So anyway, it's always interesting to see how the data corresponds to your life. When I'm going through a really stressful time, my weight generally goes up. Like, it just stress eating, all the different things. Whenever I'm in a stressful period, I can almost look at the weight chart and say the day that the stressful crap started and the day that I got through whatever it was, you'll see the line go like this. And when the stress goes away, it goes like that. But not always. Since I moved into this house here, the weight's been going up since I moved in here. I've got different thoughts on why, and I think it's just I'm burned out. I've been eating really bad. The burnout, I'm not stressed out, but I'm burned out. It's two different things. I think I'm burned out because I was stressed out from August 12th, 2022 all the way to June 1st, 2025. And then the stress went away for the most part. And then the burnout showed up because it was like your fight or flight. If you're in fight or flight mode for almost 3 years, June, July, you're 2 months short of being in fight or flight mode 100% of the time for 2 months shy of a 3-year stretch. When fight or flight mode finally goes away, your body is going to be wrecked. You're going to go through a burnout phase. You will. If you're in that level of stress for almost 3 years straight without a break from it, and if you do get a break from it, it's just a little, like a weekend here, maybe a couple days there. It never really left me. Even when I was at my friend's house when I moved to Houston, there was a level of stress that was just insane. And I got a few days to sit on a couch and watch Star Wars shows, and then it was over. And I'm right back into fight or flight mode. And it wasn't until I moved into this place where I'm sitting right now that it ended. And I don't feel like I'm in fight or flight mode. I do have some stress balls that come my way, but the fight or flight mode left. And now I'm just in this like how much that affected me is hitting me now. The lack of energy comes from being in fight or flight mode, completely ready to go, and tense and nervous and stressed the fuck out for 3 fucking years straight. you let go of that, and it's like your whole body just unwinds. It's like a spring that breaks, and it just goes boing, and you like when you wind a clock up too tight, and it just goes bing, and all the parts go flying across the room, and the whole thing just explodes because all that tension got dropped at once, and then the clock don't work anymore, does it? It's only right twice a day. And so that's where I'm at. I'm just sitting here like this. And so now how do I get past that? You got to build something up to get out of that funk. So the first thing is the physical. Get physical. What can I do physically? When I do go to the grocery store, I'm just going to buy healthy stuff. I ate something really bad last night. I'm not even going to tell you what it is. The calories are so high, I can't even add them up. I didn't eat the whole bowl of food, but the bowl, okay, it was like making okay, imagine making a lasagna or something that you put in the oven and it's big and you're not supposed to eat it all in one sitting. It was like that last night. The bowl weighed 8 pounds. Okay, so did I expect to eat an 8-pound bowl of food? No. But I ate bad last night. I was like 6,000 calories burned, 6,000 calories back, whatever. But my plan is to go get some healthy stuff at the grocery store when I get there. I've got enough food. I can get through the week without grocery shopping, but it's all going to be bad stuff. From this point forward, all the healthy stuff's gone until I get more. So today's not going to be a good day for food and eating. I am going to figure out what this smorgasbord, I'm going to figure out what this thing actually was in calories. I know how much I ate. I weighed the bowl before. I weighed the bowl after. I know how much I ate. Not going to tell you guys. You can just leave it at that. And but there's plenty more for today. I did not go over I will be shocked if I went over the calorie I'm allowed, the count I'm allowed. But that's why I'm so freaking hungry. You go to that bakery and back on a bicycle, you burn 7,000 calories in a day. I don't even know. Monday, tomorrow's the hard day. I can't even imagine what it's going to show tomorrow after lifting all them bags. I get tired from that. I have to take a break and just stand there for a second because it's like, I know I'm going to feel it. I know the heart rate's going to be like way up there. It's going to be crazier, and I'll share the data with you when I know. But I'm like, I can't imagine it's going to be it's going to blow yesterday's numbers out of the water even more. So yeah, I come home. You go burn 7,000 calories in a day and see how hungry you are when you get home. You're going to be able to eat a whole fucking cow. If somebody were to slaughter a cow in front of you and grill it, you could eat the whole freaking thing. It's always interesting. So, Strava. Let's do the Strava update. This whole video is about fitness. And fitness, food in my mouth, and fitting this exercise into my schedule, and fitting this data into a database or whatever I'm doing with it. As of today, I've gone 3,069.7 miles on Strava. 60 of it was walking. I haven't walked. You've heard 60 come out of the walk segment for weeks now because I'm not walking to the grocery store, and that was the only walking I did. So I don't track the mileage walked. The only time I track walking is if I'm going somewhere or coming back or on a hike or something distance related. I don't just track the number of, I don't track zigzagging around a bakery towards mileage. 3,008 miles now on the bicycle, 172 bike rides, 2025. 45,533 feet in elevation gain in a flat city. Houston's flat. 29,032 feet is the height of Mount Everest from sea level. So I'm on my second climb of Mount Everest right now. January, 141 miles on Strava. February, 484. March, 589. April, 530. May, 399. June, 461. And July, 417. And so far in August, officially 49 miles. Because it was yesterday. The average from January to June now is a 434 per month. And so because of going over the 400, I need to average 396 per month until the end of the year to hit 5,000. My goal was 2,000. But after I hit that before June, I was like, well, I guess maybe 5,000 is my goal. I don't know. It's not my New Year. My New Year's resolution was 2,000. I didn't know I was going to be 25 miles away from a job. And I didn't know the landlord was going to do what he did to me and force me to go on 80-mile rides to go look at a place to live and all the different things. If it added up, I would not have hit 3,000 miles by now if I was still living at my friend's house, just riding 5 miles each way to the bakery and occasionally going on a long ride. But my mindset's totally different now. When I was living at my friend's house, riding 5 miles to and from, going on a 30-mile ride to do something seemed daunting. Now I'm doing it every day. 25 every, I can go to, I had to go to the bank and back the other day, 16 miles. It felt like a stroll. It felt like a walk around the block. It didn't feel like anything. It was 98 degrees outside. I rode 16 miles to go to the bank and back, run some other errands. It felt like nothing. It's looking like, because of the way that the days fall on the calendar and whatnot, for August, it's going to be 450 to 500 miles for the month. I'll get the 400 for the bakery runs, plus a 50-mile bonus for how the days fit in the calendar. And then I figure another 50 miles of just doing errands and running around and doing stuff. Not sure. I might. No, definitely not. I was thinking maybe I'll go to the grocery store today and walk there and back, because I don't want to pay for the delivery. The way I'm feeling right now, I just told you what I did yesterday, so today I'm not feeling it. It's going to be very close though as the year goes on to get that 5,000, especially if I get a car. Financially, even if I had a car right now, I wouldn't be able to afford it, not without stepping up my game. And I can't step up my game and make more money until I get this energy situation under control. And so, but getting a car will put the kibosh on the amount of cycling I'm doing. But at the same time, it may not, because I could probably motivate myself to still ride my bike to and from the bakery, even if I had a car parked here. I'm sure for a week or two I wouldn't do it. I would drive. But then I would get antsy and want to ride my bike. And I would do it just for fun at that point, and fitness. But what the car would do is I could take extra shifts at the bakery where I might work until they close at night. Work like 5 to close or something like that on certain nights of the week. And that won't hurt me too bad. And, well, unfortunately, it would mean I'd have a freezer full of giant cookies. So that's not gonna, I don't know. But anyway, I could do that if I had a car. There are other things like I could run to the grocery store. I could go whatever grocery store. If I got to go to the bank, I don't got to ride my bike. I'll just drive. Those kinds of things. I see a deal on Facebook Marketplace, I'll go get it, come back. Just if I can get something I need that costs $100 new, I can get it for $10, I'll go get it. There's a vacuum cleaner. The Ryobi cordless 1+ battery system has a nice vacuum cleaner that's like a Dyson handheld vacuum. The Ryobi version is 200, 300 bucks. The Dyson's like 700. I found one of these on Facebook Marketplace recently for 25 bucks and I missed out on it. There's one now for 30 bucks. So I've looked at the videos. It's a beast of a vacuum cleaner. It would be way better than the vacuum cleaner I have. It would do a better job keeping my floors clean. 30 bucks. I was gonna go get it yesterday. It was on the way home. It was out of the way, but the mileage would have been between 24 and 26 miles to get home. Problem is, even if I empty out that backpack that I wear, it would be hard to fit everything and things are gonna be sticking out. I'd probably have to take paracord and tie things to the backpack and then carry it all. So now I'm thinking the best course of action would be wait until the middle of the week, go on a 8-mile bike ride, pick it up, take a bigger bag, take the bare necessities of tools that I need to fix my bike if something goes wrong, take the bag that I normally go grocery shopping in and just wear it for that quick ride, get the vacuum cleaner, shove all the parts in the bag, come home. I'll be gone 2 hours max. Stop and get my snobby milk that I want to get from the grocery store, make it more than one purpose, and get 16, 18 miles in on Strava, boom. But my body's telling me I need a break from this as well. But maybe I don't need a break from it. If I can change my food and eating habits to support it, get better sleep, do a few other things, maybe I can just keep doing this. I don't know. The car, if I do get a car, even if I get that car that the guy wants to give me, if I can pay for the shipping, the shipping is what scares me, honestly, because it's going to cost like $1,200, and somebody at the bakery just hired a shipping, like a moving company to move her stuff from Houston to Denver and disappeared with all of her shit. So I'll find out tomorrow how that's going. All her stuff might be in Mexico being sold on the side of a street right now. We don't know. And then the slumlord, one of his scam businesses that he got charged with a felony for ripping people off from was a car moving business, a trucking business, specifically moving cars from one city to another. And he would take people's money and disappear, or disappear with the car, or whatever the fuck, and he got in trouble. He's got a felony for it. He's on probation right now over that shit. I don't even know all the details, but you can look, if you knew the guy's name, it pops right, you type in his name, and that shit pops up all over the search engines. So you can find out what he did. Scumbag. So there's a lot of scam artists when it comes to that business. Like, I could just drop the money for a car to get shipped here and just, it's gone. Just like that South Park episode. Pay the $1,200 and it's gone. No car. Nobody knows where the car is. That fucking car is in Mexico now. Who knows what happened to it? It's gone. So it's like, I would go out there, I'd ride my fucking bike out there to pick it up and drive it back. It's California, it's not, I mean, right? I mean, Google Maps usually automatically chooses bicycle routes for me now. 147 hours on the bike, 1,779 miles. About 18 days. I go 100 miles a day. I could do it in about, give myself 2 weeks, because I can go more than 100 miles a day on a ride like that. Some days less, some days more. You got to plan for things to go. 3 weeks. would take me 3 weeks. But that would be a beautiful bicycle ride to go all the way from Houston to that place in California. I would cross through Austin. I would go through El Paso. I'd get to see, I'm just listing the cities, Phoenix. I'd get to check out Phoenix for a day. Probably I could swing through Los Angeles. Be out of the way, but not far out of the way. I could go into Los Angeles and up and over the Angeles National Forest. Like go from Hollywood up through the hills and up through, like I could go up through Laurel Canyon and see where all the crazy stuff happened and make it part of the. I mean, I could do things. Probably wouldn't because of how much time it would add. But yeah, I could do a bike ride like that. I've done 800 before. 1,800. Okay, fine. Once you're doing it, you're doing it. But probation's probably not going to sign off on that one. Plus, money-wise, you can't just go do something like that without money for something to go wrong, and you're going to need to eat food and all that kind of stuff. So no, it's not. But I would do it. I would totally do it. I wouldn't have any problem with the doing it part. It's just, logistically it doesn't work right now. But so there's just lots of different things going through my head right now that but I don't know. And so the other part, I'll talk about this briefly. I know these videos are long. How do you say things in the 10-minute soundbite? In fact, I did just get, what do you call it? I just read or watched a video about the new trends of the YouTube algorithm for 2025. And YouTube is starting to push longer videos. So the 10-minute short attention span crap, sounds like YouTube is starting to change their algorithm to promote longer stuff. And so if you're one of the long people who put out long podcast length videos, then you might start getting a bump for doing that. Now not me, because of the things I say, but like you or like normal people who don't, say the wrong things every day, you might get a bump for doing long videos. The short attention span stuff's always going to be there, but I think the shorts videos is where that's going to live. But those aren't 10 minutes. But you can't pick a topic and then talk about it for 10 minutes unless it's a really finite thing, and you heavily edit your video so that you're just on point the whole time and you don't go on some tangent. And you probably got to script it out so that every word that you say is maximized for time and all that stuff. You can't really have a conversation without, you can't do that in 10 minutes. You can't. You can't cover all the bases. The last part of what I wanted to mention is I don't do good with this. I've tried to do this in the past and it never works for me. Never works for me. But I'm having a hard time like just getting things done and just focusing and having the drive to do things when I'm here at the house, because I'm burned out. So I'm not beating myself up. Like I gotta work on my bicycles. I gotta find a 4-hour stretch to work on my bicycles. Do you think I feel like doing that today after what I did yesterday? No. The answer is no, I don't. When though? I need 4 hours. That's what it's going to take to do the things I want to do to both bicycles so that they're in tip-top condition and, on point. When am I going to do that? I don't know. It's not going to be today. I already know it's not going to be today. I don't have to guess. I don't have to, I know. There's a whole bunch of stuff that I have to do every week. There's things that I have, like laundry, chores, I got to do freelance work. I've got to do all this stuff, video channel, all of it. There's things I want to do that I just can't find the time for. or make the time for, because time just runs out. So I've got Google Calendar. I've decided for the next couple of weeks, I'm going to try and block things in. Anytime I think of something I want to get done, look at the calendar, say, okay, here, put it here, do it there. Is it a perfect science? No. It's just like exercise. It's just like everything else. But I can relate it to, I got serious a few years ago about, because I was always like getting late. I was always paying bills late by accident. And I was always just, I didn't know what I had in the bank account. A lot of people live like that. I know people like this. They make good money, but I'm like, how much you got in the bank? I don't know. And just like they look at their bank account once in a while to see the balance, and then like, oh, I forgot about that charge that was coming through. Oh, I forgot about my Netflix subscription. Like there was a few years back, I decided, okay, I'm going to try and find an app that works for me, that kind of works like Quicken and Microsoft Money used to work back in the day, but those apps are shit now. Quicken's fucking trash. QuickBooks is terrible. Everybody who uses QuickBooks hates it. I hate it. There's a reason why certain genres of apps, I think it's on purpose. They're just terrible on purpose. Because the people in charge of us, the rulers of our world, don't want you to be good with your money. They want you to be bad. They want you to be a train wreck because it's easier to take advantage of you. They don't want the health apps to all work together and be in harmony with each other, because if they did, then you'd be better at your health. They want these things to be broken. They don't want the music. They don't want iTunes to work as good as it used to, because that was a beautiful app. You could manage a whole music collection with it. Now you can't even listen to music with it without it falling apart. They want you to buy a monthly subscription to listen to your music now. So like all these different things, they've bastardized on purpose to fuck with you. I can tell you that's a fact. I worked in the software industry. I see how the sausage is made many, many times over. It's crappy on purpose. I 100%. Software is garbage on purpose because the people in charge made that decision consciously. There's different reasons why they made that decision, but they all made that decision together on purpose, 100%. Software, the devices that we have, the computers that we have, all the stuff works great. It's way better than it's ever been in the past, yet the software is worse than it's ever been. That's on purpose. The capabilities of the devices you have versus the software that runs on them are two different things. They're not even close. Your phone, your computer, all these things are way more capable of doing things way above and beyond what they do. But the people that write the software are fucking shit. It's trash. They purposely don't allow it to go to its full potential, especially your phone, especially your cell phone. Oh my God, if Linux and open source were to just take over, and I think it eventually will someday, because open source has already taken over back end stuff like web hosting and web processing and web applications. More people are using MySQL and MongoDB and other open source Linux-based, Apache-based, or Nginx, or JavaScript-based, Node.js, There's a lot of open source stuff running the back end of things now, but the graphical user interface side of computing, Linux isn't there yet. But that's where it's going to come from, that genre. When you can get Adobe Photoshop to run on Linux, you're going to start to see goodbye to Mac and Windows. But we're not there yet. And when the open source stuff could compete with, which it doesn't, but if it gets to that point, there's no motivation for somebody to do it for free, but we're kind of getting there because the paid stuff is becoming so shitty that in order to get your job done, somebody's going to have to come up with it. So I think you're going to see AI is going to help with that, I think, too. I just think you're going to see good and bad in our near future. But getting back to the topic at hand, the calendar. Every time in my life I have ever tried to block out a week to that, like, here's what I'm doing here, here's what I'm doing there, all week long, every little block from like 5 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night, this is what I'm doing. It never works out for me. I never follow the plan. So I stop, I give up on it because life is too unpredictable. Maybe I'm not feeling it, whatever, but I'm going to try at least for a couple of weeks to do this and see what happens. I took the same approach with my finances, and I just got down to where I'm like, be precise with my finances. And this was back when I was making good money, but I was juggling credit cards and bank accounts and everything else, and I needed to do this, and so I got used to it, and it became a habit. Since the day I came out of prison, I've kept up with that habit. I can tell you to the penny what gets spent where, generally speaking. And I even have a category for I don't fucking know. And there's not much in that category, because down to the penny I can track. Found 50 cents on the ground. Boop, it got it. Found money, 50 cents. Boom, it's in there. Because the change jar won't be reconciled if I don't put it in. I try to do it once a week. It takes 1 to 2 hours a week, consistently. Back when I was doing this and life was more complicated, if I would skip 2 weeks, I'm looking at 4 hours. I would have to break it up over a couple of days. Do an hour, do another hour, do another hour till it's all caught up. Now life isn't that complicated. 2 hours a week is 1 hour a week if I'm keeping up with it. 2 hours a week if I let it slide for a week, or just didn't keep up with it, or kind of put stuff in but didn't do it all. Like 1 hour a week if I'm keeping up with it. Unless complicated things went down that week, which they really don't. But so that's like I gotta put this in somewhere during my week. This is what I'm doing for this hour. Freelance. I need to get 20 to 30 hours of freelance in week after week. Put it in the calendar. This is when I'm doing it. This is what I'm doing it. This is when I'm doing that. Laundry's in there. I was gonna spend some time today putting away clothes, because once I get them put away, the way that the laundry works now, and I'm hanging it on a clothesline, the clothes don't all dry at the same time. So a little handful of clothes that are dry, I can just fold them and put them away right then and there. I don't have to throw them in a bucket. I got behind and I haven't had time. That's gonna take like 2 hours to fold and put away all the clothes in that bucket. But from now on, I'm doing laundry on Tuesdays because I'm burned out and it's a good thing to do on that day. The amount of laundry that builds up over 1 week is pretty low. 2 loads in the third world washing machine and hanging it up on the clothesline for a while with the fan blowing on it, and then put it away as it dries. Once I get this out of my way, but I'm gonna block it into the calendar. I'm gonna do that. I gotta find 4 hours to work on my bicycles. I gotta find time to cold brew coffee. That takes half an hour to get it in the fridge, half an hour to an hour. I gotta block in an hour. Doesn't mean it'll take an hour. Cooking dinner, an hour to cook dinner. What time am I gonna chill and watch TV at night? Like, how long can I just bust ass all day before I'm finally like, I can't do it anymore and I'm gonna go sit and relax for the rest of the night? What time am I gonna get up in the morning? What time am I gonna be like coffee and chill time and then get started on the day? What's that gonna be like? I'm gonna try and just block. I'm gonna do my grocery shopping on Friday. That takes an hour to do the online grocery shopping, to figure it all out, figure out what I wanna do. And then there's gonna be some time in the evening, afternoon or whatever, that I gotta put all that stuff away make dinner, sit down, chill, whatever. I'm gonna take breaks because I can work for like maybe 3 or 4 hours and then I have to chill for a bit and then I'll do it again. But the reason why I think I should try is because I work at this bakery. I've never missed a shift. Not one time have I called in and missed a day of work. Not one single time. I was 15 minutes late once because I had a flat tire to fix. I got there on time one other time because I had to ride into a 20-mile-an-hour headwind the whole way to work. And it was cold. And when I got there and locked up my bike, it was like 8:25 and I work at 8:30. But by the time I got changed into my clothes and everything, I punched in 5 minutes late, maybe 10 minutes late. I got stink eye from somebody, but there was one person that would do that from time to time, but don't have to worry about that anymore. But I didn't care when it happened. I was like, whatever, I'm 5 minutes late, I'm 10 minutes late one time. The time I was 15 minutes late, I called, the owner answered, I said, look, I'm gonna be about 15 minutes late, I got a flat tire. Okay, see you when you get here. No, that was it, that was the end of it. I've never missed a shift, I'm always there, I'm on point, I leave at the same time every morning, I never get a late start, I'm always home at a certain, like I follow this routine. If I have to be somewhere, I'm there. If I tell somebody I'm gonna be at this place on this day, I'm there and I'm early or I'm on time. So why not? Why not when I'm home by myself, accountable to nobody but me and maybe a probation officer here and there once a month or whatever? Why can't I do these things? Why can't I follow the same routine and be on point with the schedule? So I think if I can just force myself to do this for 2 weeks, I can make it a habit. Do I have to be meticulous and plan every single minute of every single day for the next month and fit, an hour and a half here for this? And no, but if I can do it like that for a couple of weeks, maybe I'll learn some things and maybe I'll figure some things out. Maybe I'll know what time to get up in the morning instead of just when I feel like it. Maybe I'll get up in the morning without an alarm clock at the right time because I have a habit of doing that. I never use an alarm clock. My alarm never wakes me up. Yesterday when I went to the bakery, I got to get up at 5. I woke up at like 4:50. I look over, I'm like, I gotta be up. And so I just was like, fuck it, get up. Got my coffee, which was already made. At least Friday night when I decided to do this, I took the initiative to go pack my bag and get the bike ready for the following morning so that I wouldn't have to wake up and do it. So that hour and 15 minutes from 5 a.m. to 6:15 was peaceful and tranquil and mostly just sitting in a chair, drinking coffee and relaxing. And then I was like, time to go. I got to get dressed. I got dressed at one point, chilled again. Have to do a few small things, and then I'm out the door. I'm not scrambling to get I have clothing for tomorrow already laid out. So I'm just trying to if I can just recapture time by doing small things, but forcing myself. This is the schedule I agreed to. Treat it as if I'm going to the bakery. And when other people are accountable, or when I'm accountable to other people, I do it. I've noticed that with my fitness. If I say I'm gonna meet a friend to go on a hike, I meet my friend to go on a hike. If I say I'm going to a soccer game, I'm there. I'm there early. I'm usually the first one at the game. If I say I'm gonna go to play ultimate frisbee on a team, I'm there. I never miss a game. I never miss, unless there could be a legitimate reason, but if I sign up to go do something with somebody, I'm there. I do it. I do the thing. It only takes one other person. If I say I'm gonna meet you at this place, I'm gonna meet you there, and I'm gonna be there. I do not flake out on shit like that. But when it's just me, when I'm alone, I don't feel like going on a bike ride today. I don't feel like going on that walk. I was gonna go swim today, but I'm not. And I do that. Talk myself right out of that shit all the time. Well, I was gonna do this, but I'm just gonna chill. I was gonna do that, but I'm just gonna take a break. And today's being Sunday. I'm feeling it. Burn 7,000 calories in a day and see how you feel the next day. Let me just go back to my training calendar because I know what year it was. Hit that and then go to 21. I'm just going to tell you how many calories I would burn in a day if it tells me. Riding a bicycle. Okay, so does that tell you how many? 312.15 miles. I'm going to see if I can just say how many calories you would burn to energy output. Is there a calories, perceived exertion, relative? Okay, I don't know. Is there anything about calories on here that I could just tell me? Oh, okay. Wow, okay. Riding, according to Strava, riding a bicycle 312.15 miles in 27 hours moving time, 27 hours and 48 minutes moving, 7,648 feet of elevation gain, burned 8,119 calories. That seems a bit low to me, to be honest, because that was 3 days. That was 100 and that's 800. My bad. That's 8,119 calories for that effort. So you're burning, 14,719 calories over 3 days. Divided by 3. That's less. Okay, so going on a 312 mile bike ride over 3 days burned less calories than 1 day at the bakery. Because I burned 6,000 yesterday, according to the same metrics. So that's fucking crazy. You're getting my reaction in real time. Now hold on, I'm gonna go back to the harder of the two bike rides. This one was 337 and a half miles over 31 hours. Okay, 32 hours. 337 miles and 32 hours moving time over 3 days. 11,347 calories burned on the bike with an elevation gain of 16,109 feet. It was a hillier route. So 338 miles, 32 hours, 16,000 feet of elevation gain, 11,347 calories burned on the bike, plus, so that's 17,947 calories burned in 3 days, divided by 3. That's still less calories per day than I burned yesterday. Going on a 340 mile bike ride over 3 days with 16,000 feet in elevation gain. 3 of those climbs were fucking brutal, up and down mountains in the Allegheny State Park in New York. Plus some hill climbs in the Allegheny National Forest that were pretty brutal as well before I got to the river valley that took me home to Pittsburgh. 340 miles in 32 hours over 3 days, 16,000 feet of elevation gain, burned about 6,000 calories per day. And yesterday I supposedly burned, according to, well, what was it here? I just had it written down. Wow. 6,300. So I still burned more calories, 6,398 calories yesterday. More. That's more than going on a 340-mile bike ride in 3 days per day. So I burned more yesterday than on one of those long bike rides. That's mind-boggling. That's mind-boggling. I don't know how accurate that is, to be honest. That seems a little bit low. Going on that long of a bike ride, my average speed was down, 10.6 miles an hour average, but that's the long haul. Plus I'm carrying weight on the bicycle, so they're not accounting for the fact that I probably had 25 pounds of stuff on my bike carrying it. But I mean, these are just estimates. But I kind of had a feeling that working at the bakery burns as much calories as 100 miles of biking in the day does when you factor the 50 miles bike ride followed by the work at the bakery itself, and how I feel when I come home in the next day. I felt like it was about the same amount of effort as I'd put in on a 100-mile bike ride, and I'm doing this twice a week. So I'm going on a Century bike ride twice a week. Yeah, that makes total sense to me. Now that I see the data and I'm looking at it, the numbers, it backs up how I feel. Like, I don't feel bad about feeling bad about how I feel the day after this bakery when I'm comparing it to going on a 350-mile bike ride. I could look up other bike rides on Strava that are over 300 miles over a day or two or three. My longest in one day was 174. And I'm telling you, I feel the same the day after this bakery crap that I did every day of those bike rides. Waking up the next morning feeling like hell and having to do it again and do it again and do it again, and then all of a sudden being like completely dead for the next 3 days. That week that I had to work at the bakery every single day and go there and come back 5 days in a week, holy mackerel. Plus one of those days was the busiest day of the year. By far, like crazy level of busy that day. And now that I see the data, it totally makes sense that I feel completely wiped out and burned out the day after I come back from that. So, now that I see it, and now that I can back it up with actual numbers and see it for what it is, I can work around it and start to do things about it. And with that, I'm going to get to it. I'm going to let you guys go, but I just kind of wanted to show you that if you start tracking what you do a little bit deeper than you might already do, if you're serious about your health, you're serious about your fitness or whatever, you can just gain insights. You can gain insights and knowledge into what you're doing and where you want to go and where you are and all that kind of stuff. And if you gamify it, if you kind of turn it into a little game for yourself, you'll start to learn things and you'll know what to expect. And in like what the game the little bit of information I just got in real time while you're watching my reaction is a day at the bakery for me right now with the cycling involved. It's the same amount of energy that it takes to ride a bicycle 100 miles a day, day after day. Every day I go to that bakery, it's the same energy output as riding 100 to 150 miles on a bike. And with that, I'm going to say peace out. We'll talk again later.